Then without any further ado, now that it's time, time has run out, we'd like to call upon the Prime Minister to start the debate.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Prime Minister of Opening Government. I'd like to start my speech first. Is that clock going on?
Yes. You could you restart your speech? Sorry.
Okay. My speech begins in 3, 2, 1, go. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Prime Minister of an Opening Government. I'd like to start my speech first describing our current status quo. Especially in Korea, am I audible? No? Yeah. Especially in Korea, there are a lot of difficult issues about the severely mentally disabled children. They are having difficulties in having adequate education that matches their intelligence. We'd like to define the severely mentally disabled children as children whose their intelligence is developing slowly than their physical growth, or their intelligence is stopped growing, and this can be clarified as the certificate of the doctors that the doctors should assure that these children, the mental doctors should assure that these children cannot get more developed in their intelligence. So if the doctors have the certificate and the child's intelligence doesn't grow anymore or grow really slowly than their peers, then their parents can slow down their physical growth to match their mental intelligence. So if there are two benefits from introducing this kind of policy. First of all, this can secure those children enough time to learn. This can contribute to the equality of the society, especially if we look back our elementary school experience, especially in normal elementary schools. There are special care classrooms if they exist, but they don't give enough time to learn for children who need special cares. For example, if you are age of 8 but you have intelligence of 4 or 5, but when your physical age becomes 8, you are the freshman of the elementary school, and then your grade just goes on according to your physical growth, not according to your intelligence. So even if your intelligence doesn't develop after like age of 6 or 7, if you becomes 14 in your physical age, you have to go to middle school and you have to go to high schools, and it doesn't stop. The system is only for the normal children whose their intelligence growth matches their physical growth, and this cannot give this, and this system is highly discriminative for these children with severe mental problem. Their rights of education is violated because these system doesn't secure their education. The teachers just give education, but they don't consider how their students understand their education. And secondly, if the system is introduced, they can get opportunity to get more involved in the society as an adult. So if in current system, these mentally disabled children, when they become 20 in their physical age, they have to go to the society. They have to get their job, and mostly they have to get out of the a special aid system or special aid center. They have to get their jobs, but their intelligence hasn't developed yet. Their intelligence is just 7, 8. And how can 7 and 8 years old children can get proper jobs in the society? They cannot live as an proper adult. They cannot live as an they cannot enjoy their life fully as an adult. So if it is more this this problem is more difficult if the children has no parents or some or weird others to take care of them. They have to live as an adult with no other protection. But if we give them enough time, if we give more time to learn in schools, to if to learn with more time, then they can learn more about the society. They can have more special care, and they can have enough time to enjoy their life as a child. For example, if this system is introduced, then a child with the intelligence of fourth or 5 or 6, they can live as a freshman of an elementary school for more than a year. They can just stay in that age, but not forever, of course, but they can have more time on that age, and they can be more friends with other peer students. And this is more helpful for their social skills, because normally, especially children, they don't understand their special condition. They don't understand they have problem with their intelligence, and they don't understand them, and they just bully. This is and these kinds of their violence and these kinds of difficulties can have a bad impact on their social and intelligence skills. And for these reasons, we propose this motion, and these arguments will be further discussed in DPM's speech. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for your speech. I'd like to call upon Leader of Opposition to the podium. Leader of Opposition.
Okay, sorry. Thank you for your specific explanation and argument from the opposing government team. But before I start our argument, I want to first rebuttal about the PM's argument. First, according to what PM said, they are going to controlling the body growth speed by their intelligence, because we have to give enough time to learn things. Yes, this can be true. If we give them more time to teach, they can easily learn. It can seem like they can easily learn things. However, to make a development, we think that children should get various stimulations like sight, or smell, or auditory. For example, the infants or baby who are 4 weeks, they are parents give them the moving colorful mobiles, and also we give uh, we give children opportunity like playing with toys. This is because this kind of behavior is the stimulating their sensory, and become the stimulating their sensory, they develop their intelligence, and also not only intelligence, they can learn cooperate by getting stimulation and getting various experience from the others. When the children grows, um, the children um, the children develop into um, not only playing oneself, but also they uh, when they grow, they have tendency to learn with other friends, and by that characteristic, they can able to learn what cooperation is and what considering other is. By learning these characteristics, they can um, give more contribution to society when they grow. So yes, the arguments from the prime minister, it could be true, but we think um, giving opportunity of getting more various stimulation.
POI.
Yes.
So given their condition of being severely mentally disabled, how can you explain they can contribute to the society?
I will elaborate in our argument. So we think it's it's giving them opportunity to getting stimulation, and it is more efficient to helping them grow their intelligence. I think rather than controlling their body growth speed, it's more efficient to giving them more sensory education. Now, I will elaborate our argument. First, we think that if this motion passes, there will be severe problem in the mental disease children. And second, we think there is no right. We think the children also have rights to live what they want to do. First, let's imagine about if we blocking them grow, then what will happen? There, if we blocking them grow, and if they are undersized than others, it's it's more easier to it will be easier that they can be get violence from the others.
POI.
No thanks. So this there's so much intervention and so much safety are making more dangerous to the children. And also the parents cannot care their children whenever they want. Yes, the parent should be the most the parent can be the guardian that who loves their children. However, sometimes they should be independent, and but if we blocking them and not making them get stimulation from the others, then this will not give children to get development. So thinking about the thinking the aspect of the guard, how will protect them after like the parents passed by, and also thinking about the how they can live as the others, and how they can raise the physical power. We we think this has more disadvantage to the disabled children. So we think we should not pass this motion. And the second argument, which was the parents have no right to intervention, and the parent is not parents have no right to choose their children's body growth. This will the DLO will be elaborated. This is the end of the speech. Thank you.
Thank you for your speech. I'd like to call upon Deputy Prime Minister to proceed.
Hello, I am Deputy Prime Minister, and before I start my argument, I want to rebut the leader of opposition first. The timer is not going. So first of all, the leader of opposition said that when we impede the children's physical growth, then other children will bully the children who have mentally disabled. But I think that's kind of not fit to our definition. The Prime Minister already defined that when we already told about our argument that when we impede the physical growth, that we will gonna impede the grade, like elementary schools grade 2. So for example, when we impede the physical growth to like 7 years old, then that children will not go even though that children's real age is 10, we will gonna put the children into the first grade in school. So I think that's not really stand with our definition. And also it's really not can stand with their argument, because when we impede the growth and when we impede the physical growth, that means that children can have the mentally disabled children can have friends who has like same mental age, which means that they really can feel that they have a friends which who are like they're all same age. So which means like we think we can decrease the possibility of bullying. And also they said we have to use the sensory education, not gonna instead of impeding physical growth. But how can you account for the case that people whose mental is just stop in the children age, like even the like some mentally disabled people has very low mental age even though they are an adult. So I think that cannot really explain in that case, because in that case the only education cannot solve the problem, because their mental age already stopped at the like 4 or 5 age. So I want to move on to our argument. And our first argument was that we want to impede physical growth so that children can have can be familiar with other their friends who has similar mental age, similar mental level. And Prime Minister already talked about like that, so I'm gonna move on, and I'm gonna move on to our second argument. Our second argument was let's think about in parents side. All parents want their children to be safe and to live happy life. However, they cannot control and take care of their kids who already all grown up, as the leader opposition said. So how about that case, like the case that who is already been adult but whose mental is still like 4 or 5 kids? If in that case, parents really cannot control them, because like adult men really cannot control when they do, like when they are stubborn and when they do like something violent thing, because they cannot really concern the like reality. Then we cannot really control, and that would be so dangerous to themselves and other people. And I think in that case, that would be so dangerous. And also the adult case who already stopped the mental age to 4 or 5, then they will be so depressed, because they see all other same age who is adult, they are like who is general adult, but they cannot work the same as the adult which has like same age. Then how we're gonna solve this problem? We are not saying that impede this physical growth, and we are not saying that we have to sustain that the adult's physical growth to like 4 or 5 kids. We will not impede the adults to 5 or 6 age. We will make them grow to until the adult level, but we want to impede their growth speed, so they can have time to learn about the society, learn about the manner, so that they can adapt to the society much better. It is because their time to learn and the general people's time is very different. Like 5-year-old kids can learn about the manner in 1 year, but the children who's mentally disabled children can take time like for 10 years. But after 10 years, 20 years, they'll be an adult, but they're still their mental will be still a child, but their physical will be an adult. Then they will have in that case, they really didn't get the manner, and they really get any manner. They really don't know how to live in their society good, and they don't know how to respect others. Then they will have a really dangerous cases in bus or in the public situation. So we want to impede the growth so that they can take enough time, like 10 years, 20 years, to know how to live in the society, how to not make make uncomfortable others, so they can adapt to the society. For example, there are many cases that who mentally disabled adults really go like screaming and make other uncomfortable in bus or in the like public transportation. There are a lot of like cases that we can see in the news. So those are our arguments. Thank you.
Thank you for your speech, Diallo.
Okay. I'm gonna start. 3, 2, 1. So, as the opening government of the Prime Minister mentioned, that we have to send the children with mentally problem to enter the school later when their body's growth is as much as grow as as their mental growth is as much as growth to acceptable for the school studies. But they also agreed with that there's possibility that the children's mentality degree can be stopped in the 4 or 5 age. So this means that if we impute their physical growth and let them enter the school later for 3 or 4 years later at their proper age to enter the school, there is much more possibility to get bullied by the other children, because it is different between him who entered in the 10th age and them who entered in the 8th age. There's a huge difference of them, and the age 8 children would going to stuck it and bullied to him. much on their society. And as Prime Minister mentioned, that we have to give them some more time to learn about our society. But actually, the school is the microcosm of our society. The government makes some law to get into the school to obligation because it is the right age to the children to get on the school age. And for the children is the age of the creating their mind, how to get friendly with how to get friendly with the peers, and know how to learn how learn manners, how to treat to our peers, all the teachers. So this is the kind of society to learn more effectively. And don't you think that only learn from the moms or their parents can have some limits? It would not be able to it would be not able to get on to achieve some things to if the mental problem children go to the school. So go back to our argument. Actually, this is the invading the freedom of our body, of their body. Actually, it can affect the children. This is kind of medically drugs that is injected in their body to impede their physical growth. It could suppress the growth of the muscle and the bones, and it could be stressed for the muscles and the bones, and it also affected to the brain. Brain can be get suppressed by those medical drugs, and those suppression could make more worse on their symptoms of medical illness. And actually, if in the status quo, we usually entering the students who is in the mental illness at the proper age, like 8 years old, to the elementary school. In status quo in our world. And just in case, impact the physical growth is going to make some more opportunity, more chances to getting bullied by the peers. Because, for example, like American school and Korean school, they are some small physical students get bullied more than the huge physical students. We can see in our society too. And it is also if parents treat them as long as like 10 years old, not to land them to the society like kindergarten or the elementary school, it is the huge exceed protection, and it can be suppress their independent life. And it isn't helpful for children. And as some PY from the CG, the contribute their society is not, there's no chances for them. But there will be some people who overcame the illness of the mentally, and it could make a role model to the other kids who is getting on the illness of the mental, and it could contribute to our society either. And in status quo, the family violence. The family violence is actually the child abuse is going to become a bigger problem in our society. In the past in 1980s, it was children became the possession of the parents, but nowadays society became different. The children is no longer.
POI must take a POI.
Opinion of government, please.
You said that when there is physical differences, like the weak children gets bullied by strong children, but that's our argument, that we are saying that's why we have to impede physical growth.
Actually, this in your argument, I already rebut your argument that that if we all in the same, and I always argument that in the status quo, that is a lot of people is enter the school in the same purple age as adult children. And in that moment, I speak this point, like in this society, that could be happen. And in your society, the actually become more age than other people could be some things that people being bullied by others. So back to our argument, that I actually mentioned about the societies is changing now. So the children is no longer the possession of their parents. They have some independence to choose what to do, and they don't have any. So parents don't have any kind of rights to invade their freedom of their bodies and to invade their life more harmfully. So I'm proud to oppose on this motion. Thank you for listening.
That concludes opening house. To kick off closing house, I'd like to call upon member of government.
All right, just want to check if I'm audible. Okay. So I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. All right, so first off, I'm going to give some rebuttals, and then I'm going to point out the distinction between the opening houses and the closing government. And I'm going to explain why, because about mechanism, we're going to take this debate home. So first, start off with some rebuttals. The opposition talks a lot about children contribution, talks a lot about children education and bully, but they don't really give out any mechanism of how they're gonna really contribute whatsoever to the society, and also how they're gonna be educated. And they talked a lot about like normal schools, like these children's gonna be given their education under normal school. But do you guys know that normal school is supposed to be taught for normal children, and the amount of knowledge here is sufficient for normal children to learn? So you cannot expect these children to learn manners and everything just similar to other children in normal school. So that's just nonsense. And after that, I just want to say, so you guys also talked a lot about children rights. So the parents, they don't have any rights to do anything to these children because they have the autonomy of their body. But even normal children, they don't really actually know what is the best for their body. So these, you are talking about severely mentally disabled children. How can they be better decide what they know for themselves compared to even normal children? Not so compared to even no, thank you. I'll take a 6. And also, you guys mentioned about bullies, like these children gonna be bullied if they have bigger physical size. There's gonna be no more bully. But actually, bully is not just in the form of physical. Bully can also be verbal, and bully can also be mental. And these children, they're gonna be bullied no matter what, even if they get big or anything like that, because they are mentally disabled. There are always some mean children out there always going to bully them no matter how big they are. All right, so now we get done with the rebuttals. I'm going to give out the distinction between the closing government and the opening. And I'm going to point out why we're going to take this debate home. So the opening government really focused on education and intelligence. And but actually this debate is not just about education. It's not just about intelligence, but it's about every aspect that you have to consider when it comes to a severely mentally disabled child. So I'm going to give out 3 perspectives to what these children are going through, what the parents thinking, and also what are the contribution to the society. And the opposition also mentioned that if you limit their their growth, there's gonna be like they not gonna be as capable as the grown-up kid, because like they mentioned about sensory education and about their ability, their brain will be more developed. But do we know that actually at the age of 10 you're already very fully developed in terms of brains? There are a lot of TV shows out there show that, who are like, for example, American TV show like Who's Smarter Than 10-Year-Old Kid, and actually these 10-year-old are already really smart if they have given the proper education. So actually that is a very false argument. All right, so now I'm going to give the mechanism in terms of 3 perspectives. First, their personal perspective. So what are these severely mentally disabled children they're going through? So we have to understand that first, when they get grown up, they actually have to deal with a lot more problem for themselves. First, autonomy. So when they are grown up, they actually have to be responsible for what they do with their life. So if they after 18-year-old, they are legally responsible for what they do, and the parents cannot do anything about that. And that is one of the first priority of being a parent: protect your children. But if you are too old, it's get harder for them to manage, and you have to and when you're grown up, you require certain skill for yourself. So you have to know how to do certain things with your body. You have to know how to manage yourself well in order to like protect your mentality and your physical health. So the management is harder, and also the skill is really required for them to in order to grow up. And also they have to really make decisions for themselves, whether they would want to stay with their parents or they have to go out. And these are not really capable of actually making any like decision that really going to help them, because they are severely mentally disabled. They really underplay the importance of the fact that these children are severely disabled, severely mentally disabled. All right, so the second perspective I'm going to give out is about society. Society, these children, when they get grown up, if they are not medically impeded, there's going to be a lot of harm for the society. We already know that many children or many people, they just taking the joy in, you know, bullying or like manipulating people who have mentally disabled problem. So these people, they will learn bad things from the society. There's going to be some external factors that going to hurt them. So how can we stop them from just going out there and like approaching people and like doing inappropriate action if they don't if they are grown up? So it's easier for it to manage if they are not grown up. And also for if they are grown up, they have to be, if they are not really institutionalized, there's going to be a bad score for the society. All right, so now I'm going to come to the parents' perspective. So about parents, what they really care about is the safety and the happiness of their children. So we already mentioned about that in the opening government, but I just want to delve a little bit deeper and also see what is really the most appropriate in this case. So for these children with severely mentally disability, it's very important for them to have proper, yes.
Is it really writing to impede their physical growth just because there is a chances that they don't know about their physical growth?
No, actually, they are not fully aware of what's really going through because they're severely mentally disabled. And also, the fact that nowadays there are a lot of children, a lot of children who are medically impeded. They are being homeschooled by their parents, and actually it helps them a lot. If you guys watch American Got Talent, we have the guy who just won 2019 American Got Talent. His name is Cody Lee. He's legally blind and he's autistic. He is one of the genius when it comes to music and piano and sing. He's an incredible singer. So it actually proves that even if you are mentally disabled, with proper homeschooling, you can still shine just like everybody else. So actually for the parents, and back to the parents' point, because these children, they already carry a burden for themselves. They are the one more than anybody deserve the happiness and the love and the attention from their parents. So why do we want to separate them from the fact that they really need the attention and the love from the parents in order to heal the mentality, which is the first priority when it comes to these children with mentally disability. So for that reason, I'm very proud to propose.
Thank you for your speech, member of opposition.
Wait a second.
Are you ready?
Okay, Mr. Chair, I'd like to talk about 2 points. I want to point out the government argument, and I want to talk about our closing government argument. And government said that the disabled children who has a severe mental problem have a right to study with the normal children. Of course, I admit that, but it is difficult to apply this in severe mentally who has a mentally problem in these children, and many people already talk about the discussed about the disabled children's right, but I think it is necessary to the government help. So the this house would argue that because it is the reason why the special school for emotionally disturbed children exist, and it is still, and because the danger also exists because of this disabled children, like for example, there is disabled children who has mentally severely mental problem do not do logical thinking, so they do not judge about the rational judgment. So people admit that there is another dangers for that people. So it also the reason why the special school exists, because of the role to protect their children. And this gonna be talked later in my argument. And the standard of children age we already discussed in this topic is from 6 to 13, and because the severely mental because it requires the long time to cure that children who has a severe mental problem, and to cure about this, to give a physical to impede the physical growth. For example, there is a case who take a pill, who take a hormonal inhibition in the woman. She's already an adult, but she became depressed because of the pill to give an effect on the body. She is already adult, but the people, the children who has not finished the body growth, and so, and because body and the spirit is one of the have a relation, deep relation in that. So it is very harmful to the children, and and when we give an effect to the body, and it also give the bad effect to the spirit too. So, however, the government does not think about that bad effect to the spirit too, and so we argue that because of this, this house believes that we gonna take a cure program when they become teenager. They become, yes, they not the children. They become, and in that children, we believe later, please, in 6 minutes, in children and in childhood, we gonna recommend to the children to go to the special school and
Europoi, please take
okay.
up.
You said that their mental problem can be cured later, after they become teenager, but we already defined that these children cannot be cured or cannot be developed normally when they grow old. We already defined that the doctors will decide these children.
But because we said about that, because because we think the explanation, the specific explanation should be required in this context. And so this has believes that the recommend to go to the special school in childhood, and when they become a teenager, when they and when they become a teenager, we should cure this in that period. Thank you.
Thank you for your speech. To wrap up COB side, let's call upon Government Whip.
Checking the mic. Am I audible? Yes. Yes. Can someone confirm, please?
Yes, you're audible.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Okay, here is what I'm going to do. I'm going to first deal with the OO, then CO, then explain why we're uniquely distinct from OG and why we win this debate, right? First of all, most of the points OO mentioned were not mutually exclusive, right? They talked about cooperation, how children can learn cooperation, how they can learn sensory education, how they could be bullied. But notice that like all of the arguments they did happens under our side of the house as well. The goal of each and every motion is to explain why it happens uniquely under their side of the house or why their side is uniquely impactful, right? But given that, let me like generally engage. But one of the some of the other arguments of the OO were, and like OO and CO as a whole, as they tried to spend too much time on saying how it might affect brain function, how it might affect holistic development. Like, first of all, my partner explained how it worked, but second of all, government side has fiat. I guess we should for a moment reasonably accept that this might happen and then talk about the impacts instead of just talking about the process and then the aftermath of this chemical injection. So I think like they should be penalized for that. Yes, and moving on, first deadlock that we had in the opening half as a whole, was whether or not children whether or not parents have right to make the decision. I think parents have total right to make the decision, given that it's children we're talking about. Two, parents are literally the ones who are feeding them, who are paying them, who are like covering all of the expenses. And three, parents are literally people who are legally accountable for each and every action of their child, right? So children, they cannot make the by their very natures, they are not capable and they cannot, legally speaking, make that decision. And lastly, we're talking about severely mentally ill people. So it's not just mentally ill people. We're severe cases. It means it's extreme. So in that case, we think it's reasonable if the parents take the will and then make the decision, right? So what was going on in the opening opposition as a whole. So they were talking about how children should receive holistic educations. They were trying to pinpoint about like loopholes with the school system, right? Like grading, aging, and parents' right and brain function. I guess we've covered that. But when it comes to school, when it comes to allocation to different grades, I guess we'll be the only house that will clearly like resolve that deadlock, because we are saying it's not. So it's like, given that it's severely mentally ill, people, we think like there are options like homeschooling, where people where parents can take their children to homeschool, and then we explain why this happens under our side and why it might further contribute to their holistic development, right? So what uh, what my partner said and what our opening have failed to do, right? They focus too much on school and too much on like too much on school and education and how this process works out, how they go to school, and then how and then they took severely mentally ill people from the perspective of intelligence, right? They're not intelligent enough to study with other people, with the rest of the classroom, so that's why they have to be put in lower classrooms. We think that that's not the main issue we should have in this debate, right? What are the main issues? First of all, we under our side, we offer three perspectives, right? First of all, from parents' perspective, as the adult physically grows older, it becomes harder to manage. It causes a lot of awkwardness, right? Because we should assume that those people will be constantly in need of help, and then the people who will be offering their help will be their parents, right? Given that parents will have to always take care of themselves, as they become more powerful, more as they build more muscle power, it becomes like just difficult for parents to manage when they experience different mental episodes, right? We're not just talking about people who are intelligently cannot catch up with the class. We're talking about people who might who experience severe paranoia, right? Who schizophrenia, right? Who might do something extreme, who might harm. Like, first of all, from parents' perspective, it's just hard to manage them, right? It just causes more awkwardness. It brings more expenses, and then the children in those like specific case, in extreme cases, show more resistance, right? It means like parents will, even if they want, will be failing to take care. But what can happen under our side is, when we pass this motion, is maybe we can offer options like homeschooling, where like government will not take away their children from them, because like in most of the case they do, because it's just hard to manage those, becomes just impossible to manage those children given their power, right? So we offer, for example, as an option, homeschooling, where children will be in constant care of not outsiders but their parents. They will receive the education they will receive the emotional help they need, right? Second, from children's perspectives themselves, there is a there is not going to be harm, because like, first of all, we should assume the reasonableness of this motion, and it's happening under medical supervision of um like medical staff. So I think we don't think there will be an like extreme harm. But even given that, we think like from children's perspective, there is like lower expectations, less criticism towards them, because they are like physically older and then doing extreme things. So we think like people will be naturally lower expectation, less criticism, and just less pressure as a whole. um and lastly, from society's perspective, like as they build more power, as they become more physically built, uh they and they in the case they experience those episodes in life, they can be extreme scenarios, right? That might go to the extremes where can they like incur collateral damages, where they can physically extremely harm people, right? Because when they experience those things, it's out of their control, because we can't assume that because we are talking about severely mentally ill people, right? So they will be capable of incurring more harm. So which uniquely sets us apart from our opening and other houses, because we are explaining how that happens, and then why in the first place those measures need to be taken towards, and then how under the we provide more care and more bonding with parents, which is essential, critical, as opposed to other outside help when it comes to development of the child, and how we protect society and how we protect children themselves. That's why I'm so proud to propose.
Thank you for your speech. To wrap up EFL finals, opposition whip.
I'd like to strengthen our our member of opposition have said first. So in our society, there is a serious problem about mentally disabled children. So it is really controversial problem that the parents that our government would allow the parents of those children to impede their children's physical growth. But there are some problems. If we allow their parents to medically impede their children's physical growth, that is problematic in that the others control individuals' right, the right to follow the law of nature growth. So this is really natural thing and fair thing to everyone. To every human being, it is really fair thing to every human being. So doing that is to take what is to be expected as a matter of course. For example, woman is menstruating as they grow, but it might be but I agree that it might be really hard for the caregivers to handle this menstruation thing. So if their children suffer, especially their children are suffering from a severe mental disease, there is a choice to inject a hormone suppressing medication. However, menstruation is what normal woman takes for granted. So we should consider the following side. So and we should consider the following side effects, such as accelerating the osteoporosis or depressing mood and so forth. Or as all I have mentioned, if they are injected the somatostatic, which suppress the physical growth, do they have to endure the inconvenience of not growing like sexual organs or hate just because they are mentally disabled? So it can be seen as not respecting respecting the provision of nature and the disabled children as well. Next I want. Okay.
You're keeping saying about the natural growth, but these child's intelligence is not naturally growing already. Then in this special case, don't you think that they need special care for their body and for their intelligence?
Okay, I get your point, and I am going to mention it in my speech. So next, I'm gonna move on to rebutting of the government house. The government house have said that having to the children have to go to the society when they grow up and get a job, but their intelligence hasn't developed, so it would be really hard for them to get a job or making new friends. Yeah, that is serious problem, and that's why association of mental disorder are trying to dealing with this problem. There are various kinds of rehabilitation programs for those who, for those who suffer from the severe mental health problems such as autism or crippled disorder. But there they can learn simple repeated work. For example, gluing the ice stickers to the teddy bear. There is another example, the Autistar, which is a company in which the autism is hired and the company provides the rehabilitation program. So autism people who likes to draw or making things, they make a new product that is sold in the market. On top of that, in the company, an autism person can communicate and work with another autism people. During this time, they can earn money and develop their social skills and feel the self-efficacy as well. So this shows that if we impede severe mental disabled physical growth, this kind of great company wouldn't have founded. This is one of the reasons why we should not impede their physical growth. Oh, sorry. So so although the medical science and technology is developing and have developed fast so far, we don't have to cure for this serious disease yet, and we couldn't stop having a severe mentally disabled for a quite time. So therefore, we have to lead the time when these people are accepted as one of the member of society, and we should continuously think carefully how we can provide them a proper education or other rehabilitation programs, rather than allowing parents to medically impede their children's physical growth, because that makes the mentally disabled children more isolated from our society. And just in case their parents are dead, imagine that there is mentally disordered children who is suppressed their growth, living off their parents for the whole life. What can they do after their parents die? So we need to help them to develop the sense of independence, so that they can maintain their life after that. So for these reasons, this house shouldn't allow parents. This house is not agreeing that the government should. So this house would not agree that the parents are given to medically impede their children's physical growth. And I'm proud to support it. Thank you.
Thank you for your speech. That concludes EFL finals. Thank you everybody once again for participating. We will announce the results of EFL finals during our closing ceremonies. So please, if you have the opportunity and the time, go over and watch grand finals. I think that will be also a nice, a fun debate to watch. Once again, thank you everybody, and panel, please stay in this room.